Hello, everyone. It's Diana Rankin here, coming to you with Philip's message for the week. And we have another interesting question from you, our viewers. And we do invite all of our viewers to send the questions in. You can put them in the comments below. We just ask that they be of a general information question rather than a personal question, or if it's a personal question, that it would relate to all of our viewers, such as the questions with an S we have this week are all related to humor. Here's the questions have to do with humor among those in spirit form, among themselves, humor with us, the whole ball of wax around that. So we will also, after we get Philip's answer on humor, and I have to say the answers, it's like, oh, come on, I know that. And then there's always a lovely surprise with them. So hello, Judith. So good to see you. Glad you could join us. And hopefully, last week I went on quite a bit earlier on Friday in order to not have a problem with the video. So I came on, I'm testing out like different times. So I'm hoping this time works as well with a good video. We've had some problems in the past with the audio would be okay, but the visual would just be horrible. So hopefully today's okay. So we'll find out, won't we? But we will get a message from one of my books, The Master's Book of Answers by Phillip. And as you know, it just each page is a different wisdom. So we'll get that. And whoops, my book is falling apart there. I got some pages coming out. Need to get a different book. Same book, just a different copy. How's that? And Judith said, good to see you as well. Thank you, Judith. And that means you can see me. So that's good. We're not going over the air. So what we'll do is we'll just flip through and get our message for the week shortly here. But I wanted to get going on this particular, on this particular question. I found it really interesting, the way we answered, and yet it all comes together and makes sense, doesn't it? And by the way, I hope wherever you are, that the weather you're having there is as pleasant a day as what we're having here in mid-Ohio. I don't know if you can hear the birds singing outside. I'm hearing birds singing. I don't know if you can feel it's like perfect weather day. It's not too hot. It's nice and warm. There's a gentle breeze blowing, and the sun is out, and the clouds are just fascinating. So I'm enjoying the day itself. So here we go. Excuse me. It is hard on allergies, though, isn't it? When the fall with all of the pollen. And I have been out walking a couple of times today with Daisy, my dog. I think you all heard of Daisy. Okay, here's our question. What is the role of humor among those in spirit form? Do our guides engage in humor amongst themselves, or is humor strictly a human trait and only engaged in by those in spirit form when interacting with humans? And the next question is, we humans sometimes speak of a cosmic sense of humor, but do our guides play tricks on us as a way of teaching? Okay, here we go. Excuse me. I'm going to just take a sip of water here, because I am getting some dryness in the throat. Just what you wanted to see, right? An old lady taking sips of water. Okay, here we go. The answer. The role of humor among those of us in spirit form is the same as it is for you in human form. And here's the reason we have humor. To laugh and participate in the gaiety of being. To laugh and participate in the gaiety of being. As in the humans world, spirit world has multiple beings, some of whom may not appreciate humor in the same way as those who have had life experiences in Earth's energy. Excuse me. For example, angels may not understand humor, nor do they have a need for humor, as they live in the energy of what you would call joy all the time. Laughter, which is produced from humor, is not called for in the angel realm, because they're always in joy. For humans, laughter is needed to lighten the load, so to speak. As in the human form, the physical world can, at times, be most daunting. Those who call animals Those you call animals also engage in laughter. But for this session, we shall commit to keeping the information to humans and to those in spirit form who have interaction with humans. So even though there are other forms in our world, other life forms in our world, such as our pets, our animals, and other life forms in spirit world, this discussion, Philip is telling us, is really confined to humans and those from spirit world who understand the human humor because they've had human life experiences. Okay. Although there are many in addition to guides who interact with humans, such as healers, we shall refer to all as guides. We are also referring to those guides who have had human life experiences, so they are able to understand the human experiences, including emotions and humor. As a human evolves, so does the type of humor. By this we mean a more evolved human finds laughter in word choices and word manipulation, such as wit and puns, whereas a less evolved person might find humor in that which causes harm to another. This harm may seem trivial to the person laughing, but not to those who were the butt of the joke, so to speak. I want to also insert something here. When Philip is talking about those evolved and less involved, he's not talking about that as a put down, but just as a matter of fact that the more evolved people have just had more life experiences. I think of it as like I'm going to be 76 in November. I can't believe it. Oh my. But anyway, at 75 now, I'll stay in today. But at 75, I've had more life experiences and hopefully collected a little bit of wisdom along the way than a 10-year-old. And so we have that same thing as we evolve spiritually, that as we grow spiritually, the same as we grow in age, we gain a bit of life experiences, and hopefully know a bit more. Okay, here we go. Philip is saying, we often laugh with you as you laugh at your own wit, or when you are tickled by our wit. Yes, we have often heard you say there is a cosmic sense of humor, or that God has a sense of humor. This is not to say we play tricks on you. This I thought was great. You play tricks on yourselves. When you do, we do our best to point out any humor in the situation to lighten your load. If you think of spirit world as much like your world, then it will be easier to understand many of our interactions with one another in our dimension, including humor. Spirit world is as vast as the imagination. There are those who engage together in humor of different forms, just as in your world, and there are those who don't. As humans pass from your world into ours, they go through a learning process, much as does a newborn in your world. I thought that was a good way of really understanding it, that as humans pass from Earth, as we die and move into spirit world, we go through a learning process in the same way that babies born into this world go through. The humor is partly what the person brought with them from their earthly life and partly what they learn in their new life. As in human form, life is much similar at the beginning, especially. So when we first pass into human form, when I'm working with a client and we want to contact someone, a loved one in spirit form, if a person has been there, if a person has just recently died, it is often very difficult to contact them because they're trying to adjust to their new world. So it helps for a little time to pass. If huge amounts of time have passed, like lifetimes have passed, that can be really, really easy. Or that person may have moved on and we have to bring them back into the thoughts that they had as the human that my client would know them as. So they appear to me. So the easiest people to contact are those who, number one, believe in us, want to be contacted, and haven't, have been within this lifetime or the last few lifetimes. So parents, grandparents, even great grandparents. And then beyond that, a lot of times the people have moved on. So we have to call them in, which we can do. So I always find that interesting, though, that they present themselves as my client would have known them in the earth form. And so that tells me that we retain that. And that's what Phillip is saying here. The humor is partly what the person brought with them from their earthly life, and then partly what they learn in their new life. And I like the way he phrased that, the new life. As in human form, life is much similar at the beginning, and then especially, he says, at the beginning especially. Life is much similar, and then at the beginning especially. Sometimes his wording throws me, so I have to work it through. The difference is here we maintain memory, here being spirit world, we maintain memory of life in the body. And of course, we do not have a body as you do. In this way, creation is easier and may seem instantaneous if observed by a human. Let humor and the gaiety of life be part of your life. Let it heal your aching heart and soothe your pain. Let laughter come from your heart and gladden your soul, and we will rejoice with you. I'm going to read that last part. He always leaves us with an uplifting phrase or a few uplifting sentences. So here we go. Let humor and the gaiety of life be part of your life. Let it heal your aching hearts and soothe your pain. Let laughter come from your heart and gladden your soul, and we will rejoice with you. Thank you, Phillip. Thank you. And hello, Johanna. So good to see you. And she is saying hello, everyone. And I say Johanna. I also know a Johanna. So forgive me if it's Johanna rather than Johanna. But I think in this case, it's Johanna. I'm not sure. But welcome. So glad to see you here live. It's always fun to have those of you who come on live with me. So here we go. We're going to just get a message here. Let's see what comes. There we go. If you heard right, then that's the message that our intuition's just in sync. If you heard left, then that's a message that you specifically need to pay attention to. Okay, here's what we had on the right, and we've heard this message before, but it's been a while. The universe hands you a gift because you are ready, whether you know it or not. The universe hands you a gift because you are ready, whether you know it or not. And if you heard left, if yesterday's harvest was limited, perhaps you should plant more abundantly. If yesterday's harvest was limited, perhaps you should plant more abundantly. It's Joanne. Oh, Joanne, I'm so sorry. So thank you for correcting me. And you may have to do that again. So I'm so grateful for you to help me out there. When I'm seeing print names, sometimes they're spelled differently. So it's pronounced Joanne. Thank you. So Judith and Joanne, I'm so glad you're with us today. I'm so glad all of you who are not writing anything are with us today. And all of you who watch this video later, I wish you well as well. And I thank you all for being here, for being with us. And I'm going to remember it's Joanne. And Judith, thank you for this week's message. Thank you. We're in some tough times, my friends. And if you've listened to Phillip September, Wanda, so good to see you. Thank you. Judith, kisses and hugs to you as well. If you've been watching the, I just hit the mouse bite, sorry. And Joanne wants to know, what if our loved one reincarnated? Could we reach them? Yes, we can still reach them. And that's I'm probably may want to go into that deeper with Phillip, but if this answer satisfies you, I probably won't, because it's a complex but fairly simple answer. The word bifurcate is a word that we seldom hear, but what it means is the human literally the body has been seen by some guru masters in more than one place in the US at the same time. That's bifurcation, that we can be in more than one place at the same time. Well, imagine whether we have a body or we don't. We are spirit, that we are pure spirit. And so with that spirit, we are able to be in more than one place at one time, because all's energy. And so, yes, I will tell you a quick story here. My mother has passed many years ago. She was actually killed in a car accident, and it was a devastating. I was an adult, but it was still devastating. And I was at a workshop on intuition, and we were reading for each other. And the one woman read for my mother, and she said she was very angry. And I said, I don't know that she ever really found the love and the peace that she was seeking. And there were reasons in her life to feel that anger. And she said, well, you're going to meet her again. She's reincarnated. And I said, well, I was feeling she has, but that's interesting. So I was coming back. I was getting on an airplane to come back to Ohio. And I was in the New England area. Up in New York area in New England. And so I was standing in line, and this was pre-COVID days, so we weren't wearing masks. And this little boy in front of me, maybe 5, 6 years old, if that old, maybe 4. It's been quite several years, so I'm trying to bring this back. I talked to my mother, especially back then, quite often in the spirit world. And then also in this workshop, we had just talked to her. And so then I'm encountering this little boy in front of me. Now, normally when I'm standing in line like that with children, I will smile. I may even talk to their parents and talk to them, but always there's permission. But I felt the need to get down at his level and just tithe, loving eye to eye and soothing voice. And his mother was having a very difficult time with him. And he suddenly just calmed down, and she started crying because she had not seen him calm down like that. And she said, he's been so angry. And there was just this overwhelming love that passed between the three of us. And there's no question in my mind, that was my mother who had come back as this little boy. And the mother was able to then, later we talked, we exchanged numbers, and later we talked. And she said that the child had actually calmed down from there on. So I haven't followed up since then. And like I say, it's been a number of years, but that's just my personal example of how, yes, we can bifurcate. And yes, if somebody has reincarnated, we could still reach them through the spirit form that they were in that particular life. And sometimes if they want us to, we can pick up what their new life is. Hope that answers your question, Joanne. So thank you. I'm so grateful for each of you who have come and said hello today. I'm so grateful for each of you who have subscribed to this channel. I'm so grateful for each of you who take love out into the world. So thank you for the love that you send to me. Thank you for the love that you receive back from me. Thank you from us to you. Let's help heal our world. We're in a tough one right now. And I think I did not finish the sentence or the thought when I said, if you have watched this month's video, you know we're in for kind of a rough month. So stay in love, my friends. I will see you next week. Thank you. Until then.